Welcome everybody. Today is, what day is it? Oh, it's Veterans Day. It's November 11th. It's also my dad's birthday, and we're here to talk about SEO. So we had a ton of great questions last week, and we had some good ones. We actually had to save them because we ran out of time. So I want to make sure we get to them today. So we're just going to jump right in. Allie, you were asking a question about pop-up forms on websites.
Yeah, so basically my question is we're thinking about adding that like pop-up subscribe to our website, and we wanted to know, is it something that's beneficial? Is it something that's easy to implement? How could we go about that in the best way, and is it even worth the time to do it?
Sure. Well, do you already have an active email list?
We do, yeah. We use Mailchimp, and we have 3 different like newsletters. So we have one just for our blog posts, one for like family focused things, and another for professional.
Okay.
And you can sign up for 1, 2, or all 3.
Okay, great. Yeah, because that's what these are really good for, is generating email subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you already got an email list, that could be a good option.
Yeah. And part of the reason why we're particularly interested now is because we are planning on opening an in-person clinic in the new year. So we want as many people as possible who visit our website to get that notification, especially if they possibly come to the website, see like, oh, they don't have a clinic, that's what I'm looking for, and then potentially get that email and be like, oh, okay, they're opening one. So
great. Yeah, I love that strategy too. The things to think about is how this fits within your overall marketing strategy for your website, because although these work really well, Google does not like them. So depending on how you implement it, you might be held back a little bit by your organic search results. Now, there's a lot of caveats in that, but one of the biggest caveats is business decision. It might be worth it to take a little bit of a hit from Google to get those extra email addresses, and then that's business decision, right?
Right.
You can also try it and then turn it off if for some reason you find out that it's really, really hurting your search engine optimization efforts.
Right.
But there are ways to do this where it is less frowned upon by Google. So for instance, Google really, really doesn't want you to do it on mobile. So you need to have a solution where you can only show it on desktop and not mobile. Also, it needs to be not taking up most of the real estate of the screen. So something that, and there's actually a percentage. Let me see if I can find it for you. There's actually a percentage that Google recommends, and where they actually say, oh, this is very interesting. So one part of Google says don't do it, and one part says here's how you do it. But let's see if we can find this article that is. So the other thing is, okay, here we go. It's called the I'm going to go down a little hole here. But a few years ago, Google rolled out what they call the interstitial penalty.
What is it called?
Oh, I'm on websites that are keeping me on their website rather than going to Google's page. So basically, that's the decision. Is it worth the hit that you might experience from your SEO to get these email addresses? Now, to what extent this is a penalty in Google's eyes, we never will know, right? They don't tell us this is going to result in 50% less traffic, right? I do have a site that insists that it's really well worth it, but we're noticing their organic traffic is going down consistently.
Mm.
And we can't help but wonder if this is one of the factors.
Mhm.
There are other things that Google says, such as in their manual review guidelines, that a website cannot be considered high quality with one of these on it.
Google says that?
Yeah. So to what extent that affects your traffic, and that's the business decision you have to make. It could be worth it. And some people insist it is, because it's a great way to convert visitors into potential future leads, even if they don't become immediate leads. Right. And then this is exactly where it's valuable. But knowing that it might affect you negatively. Now, there are ways to do this that can correspond with Google's guidelines. One is, and I need to find the number, but Google actually gives a percentage of your screen that should be not taken up by it. So it's like a small portion of your top of your screen on a mobile device is okay. Also, it needs to be able to be dismissed. So you need to be able to opt out of it, so these are the kind of criteria you're going to have to look at when you look at platforms to roll this out, because this is usually something you'll have to get a plugin for your website to do or a third-party service to do. So just be aware that there's a decision to be made about whether it's worth it considering. Also, we've been talking a lot about page speed lately. Breaking news, yesterday, Google announced that Web Core Vitals, which we've been talking about a lot, are going to be a ranking factor in May.
Okay.
But what's really, really interesting is they have a little graphic that illustrates. Let me see if I really want to find this. They have a really interesting, there we go, here it is. I'm going to share my screen because this just really relates to exactly what we're talking about. So this is the blog post from Google yesterday, where they're announcing that it's May when this will roll out. But notice their little graphic here. I don't know if you can see it really well on the screen. The Web Core Vitals are going to become search signals in May. But other search signals, mobile friendly, which we knew, safe browsing, which is kind of obvious, right? If your website's hacked, or if you are serving pornography, they're not going to serve your site. Secure HTTPS, which is why we moved to it a few years ago. And then look at the last one, no intrusive interstitials.
Okay.
So now again, Google likes to socially engineer us so we do what they want. And they don't want that. And we can get into why Google might not want that. But what they're not telling us is, even though they've ordered this, they're not saying that this is necessarily order in which they're ranking signals, nor are they saying that core vitals are the most important ranking signal. They're just saying these are going to be ranking signals. And so what I find really interesting is that they're adding no intrusive interstitials to this. So, yeah.
So I have a question then. I don't even know if this is something that's done, but would it make more sense to have like a permalink like at the top that is on every page that says like sign up for our email here, and rather than a pop-up, just have that as a permanent part of the page no matter what page you're on the website?
That is a best practice.
Okay.
That is a best practice. Something on every page that goes to some sort of email sign up. However, remember, we want to keep people going. We need to have every page focused on the most important call to action. So if we have too many calls to action, contact us for make an appointment, sign up for our email, follow us on social media, download this PDF. we end up confusing visitors and having less total signups. So I would do that as a secondary call to action, but I would make sure I didn't detract away from the main money, contact us, in your case, get an appointment kind of call to action on the page. So you could very subtly on your blog posts, for instance, which would be a great place for that, is put in the sidebar a button to click to sign up.
Mhm.
Now that's not going to be as effective as a big pop-up, right? Because a big pop-up is in your face, and that's why people hate them, but people use them because they work really, really well.
Yeah.
So another thing to consider is how you do it. If you do it, again, small in size, dismissible, and there are ways to do it where it's like the browser tries to identify you're about to leave the page. That might be less intrusive as well.
Mhm.
But you can, what I would do is if I did it, and like I say, a lot of people do it because it's really effective. Just watch your organic traffic to make sure, especially from Google, to make sure it's not turning south. And it might be worth a south turn to get some more email addresses. Because frankly, what's
Do
that?
you think that there's one that you can do if you're leaving the page? How does it do that?
It actually detects where the mouse is. And if it notices that your mouse is like going outside the screen, it says, oh, you must be leaving the browser. Therefore, they're going to, hey, before you leave, you might have seen it before. Hey, before you leave, don't forget to sign up for our email newsletter.
That's like a little bit crazy. I didn't know that that was a real thing that happened.
It is. It is a real thing.
Apps, or you go towards like the search bar, it'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
I think you left too soon. Jeez,
Yeah. Wait, before you leave, here's 20% off your next purchase. Wait, before you leave, don't forget to sign up for email address. But again, as long as it's dismissible and not taking up too much real estate and like not immediately taking up the entire page of the site when you land on it, that's a worst case scenario. There's
like
ways to do it.
Navigating away, like before you leave, do you want to learn more? Like,
I think that would be great for a blog, right? Because we know that blogs have high bounce rates because people have found the answer.
right.
And if we can invite them to subscribe to it through this, heck, in some cases, I'd take less traffic if I got more email addresses.
Right.
Right? Because we know that a lot of traffic is irrelevant traffic. And so I'd be willing to take a hit to do it. But these are the decisions you have to make.
Right.
Let me see if I can find that. I'm not going to sit here and search Google while we're talking. So I will follow up with you about the exact guidelines from Google. It's actually an update from a couple of years ago that is still in place that we need to just consider.
And that to everybody, because that's interesting to me too, because I was thinking about pop-ups also. I didn't know there was a percentage for them.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
Oh, I said, are you going to send that to everybody? Because
Yeah.
I was interested in that too.
Absolutely, I will send it to you so that way we can all consider the rules. As with everything, we want to follow Google's rules, but we understand that Google's interest is not necessarily our interest. And so sometimes we might have to push the envelope a little bit to find some success and sacrifice something to get something else. But does it kind of get you in the right direction, Allie?
Yes, it does. That was extremely helpful.
Okay, well, good. Tricia, have you ever used any plugins on WordPress to do this?
Yeah, but it's been so long I can't remember what I've used.
Like, isn't Opt-in Monster one of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one I've heard of. Yeah.
Divi has one too. I played around with it.
Okay. Well, Divi, you have to use the Divi theme, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There are, like, I would wonder if you, Allie, you mentioned you're using Mailchimp. I would look in Mailchimp. I think they have code you can add to your site to do this.
Oh,
Yeah. I would think so. I haven't used them, but I would think so.
And it might be as easy as adding it to your Google Tag Manager instance to add the code to your site, and then you can take it off if you need to.
One that I would check that for sure. One that I have used in the past is Pop-Up Ally, ALLY.
Okay.
And I think that it has some things that you can minimize. It doesn't come like pop right up. It's kind of scrolling across the bottom of things. So
that would be good.
yeah.
So like I was a little worried about this when I started working on notifications for COVID-19 for my client sites. And because I wanted to make sure people knew they were still in business, but didn't want to be intrusive and didn't want Google to misinterpret it as some sort of intrusive interstitial, right? So I looked at a couple of little plugins to do this, and they just kind of put it right at the very top of your page. And that might be a good way to do it. But you can play around. If you really wanted to get fancy, Ali, you could look at Google Optimize, which is their A/B testing tool, which will allow you to serve up things to some people and other things to other people. And you can see which is more effective as far as getting email addresses. That would be a deep dive. Would take a little bit of effort, but it could be a really fun way to do it. I've played around with it a little bit. It's a little code intensive, but I think you can figure it out. Don't be so scared. You'll be fine.
I probably could, but I would probably get a headache doing it.
I think the first place to check is Mailchimp.
Yeah.
I think they have a pop-up, and that might be real easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I am definitely a serial, like if I don't like doing something, I just procrastinate the hell out of it. So Mailchimp might be the easier route.
I get it. All right. Well, that was a good one. We've been saving that one for a couple weeks. All right. So Trisha, you had another one that you wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
What's the most important one?
I think for me is like the website goal. So I have one where like their goal on all their pages is to click a book now link.
Yeah.
But see that link, it's a chiropractor site, and they have like a booking thing. So it goes to that booking site, which is not their URL, it's the site that they're using. Right. So how do I do that?
So
is there a way? I don't know.
Yeah, this is a real challenge. And there may be an easier way to do this and a harder way to do it.
Okay.
The easier way to do it is less accurate, but will give you some idea. Mm-hmm. The more hard way to do it might not be possible.
Okay.
So it all is dependent upon the platform they're using. Okay. So let's talk about the easy solution first. Mm-hmm. Google Analytics allows you to trigger what it calls an event on certain actions.
Okay.
And if you have an instance of Google Tag Manager and you're running your Google Analytics through Tag Manager, which is always a best practice for all kinds of reasons, but this is one of them, is then you can then say, if someone clicks on this button, send this event into Google Analytics. So we know that someone's clicked the make an appointment button. Okay. Now that make an appointment button might go to the third-party website, and that person might fail to sign up for an appointment at that point.
Yeah.
But at least you'll have an idea of
who's clicked on it.
Who clicked, and that you can qualify traffic as more quality based on people who are reading this content are more likely to at least try to sign up, right? Which is better than not knowing whether or not they signed up, right? So to do that, you're going to have to go and investigate Google Analytics event tracking. So I always recommend running it through Tag Manager, but if you don't have Tag Manager set up yet, There may be ways to do it through your, like if you're using your plugin if you're using a plugin to render Google Analytics on your site, maybe opt-in or Monster Analytics or something like that.
Okay.
Some of those plugins will allow you to track events. If you aren't doing that and you have access to the code, you can always go into the code and add event tracking manually
Okay.
in the template. But then you run into problems like not being able to update the templates. You're going to move to a child theme.
Yeah.
And then you get
Okay.
into, but that's why Tag Manager is always a better place, because you can do all this through Tag Manager.
So I'm only vaguely familiar with Tag Manager.
Right.
So so I know that they have Google Analytics. So if they have Google Analytics set up and then I go add Tag Manager, I need to do something to get them to communicate?
Right.
Okay.
So
okay.
Tag Manager, you can think of Tag Manager like a bucket. And that bucket contains code that renders that can render based on when Tag Manager tells it to render.
Okay.
So that code can be anything. That code can be a pop-up, hey, sign up for our email list. Or it could be Google Analytics code, which is a code, which is JavaScript, right? Which is sending information to Google Analytics and based on the interaction with the page. So Tag Manager is a bucket. If you put Tag Manager on every page of your site, you can then add Google Analytics to the bucket. And then Tag Manager will serve Google Analytics when you tell it to.
Okay.
On every page, in other words. So if you have analytics on a site and you're moving to Tag Manager, what basically you'd be doing is going into your templates and making sure Tag Manager's there and removing analytics. And
That's my question.
Analytics into Tag Manager.
Okay, so Google, so I can't just like take it and add Tag Manager. I have to actually add Tag Manager and remove analytics.
Right.
Otherwise it would duplicate stuff.
Well, you would have two instances, plus you would try to set up event tracking through Tag Manager, but it couldn't communicate with analytics outside of Tag Manager.
Okay.
So you'd want it all in there, one bucket. And when it's in the same bucket, it can talk to itself.
Okay.
Okay. It's worth your time to look into Tag Manager. It's not as scary as you think it might be. There's a lot of tutorials on how to add Google Analytics using Tag Manager. And then it's real. Once you figure it out, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. And then when you realize that once you have Tag Manager on every page of your site, or every template, in other words, then you can add and subtract codes all day long without opening up the source. Right, which developers love because then you don't break stuff. I love because then I don't break stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's so many advantages. So then if Allie wants to go and add, Mailchimp to her site, she just puts it in Tag Manager. I bet you there's a tutorial out there for it. She doesn't have to know how to change the code. She just puts it in Tag Manager and tells it when to execute. So that's a best case scenario if you're doing the easy route, which again is less accurate. Right? Because you're just tracking who tries to go to the sign up page, not who actually signs up.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to take it a step further, we'd have to check a couple things. First of all, we'd need to see if the sign up system, the appointment system, if the appointment system will allow us to add our Google Analytics to their site.
Okay.
Because if we aren't able to add it, then nothing we can do will allow us to track it, right? We have to execute our code on the site if we want that. So some of the services
That's
do,
what I was thinking.
some of the cheap ones don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to because it's a acupuncturist company, so they're using one that different healthcare ones use. So I'll maybe look it up and see.
And it might be simply as going into the back end and you enter the code and they just throw it on for you. And that'd be great. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So
like now, for example, like on the website, they've got the book now button that goes to that in numerous different places. So I'm gonna have to go into either Tag Manager or Analytics and say every place that button is, so it knows what I'm talking about, that it's clicking? Am I making sense?
So going back to the first easy option,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a couple ways you can do it. The best case scenario is that the button is consistently styled with some sort of ID or class that's only used for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use Tag Manager to detect if someone has clicked on an element of that ID or class.
Okay.
So you can just say, hey, Tag Manager, watch on every page of the site, and anytime anybody clicks on this element, execute the event.
Okay. So for example, if this is not a big site,
Yeah.
if it's not, it would probably be a good idea to create like something and call it, this is the book now button, and then have all of them put in as the book now button, and then just do it that way. That way, if I have to add one later, I don't forget.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And the odds are probably all the buttons always look the same.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be book now. It can be B1644, whatever
Yeah.
the class they're using to keep the styling consistent about themes will work. And Tag Manager can detect someone interacting with an element in the DOM. And that's what you're doing. You're saying, hey, listen for this. And if that happens, that's when I want you to execute my code.
Okay.
You could set up Tag Manager to limit it to only pages with buttons, but that's kind of like not really what you want. You really want to watch for the button.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the easiest. Now going back to the hard one, let's assume you're able to add your Google Analytics to the third-party booking software. The next thing you're going to have to do, actually, we ran into this problem with Allie a while back because they were signing up on the Mailchimp site, and we weren't able to add our Google Analytics code to the Mailchimp site, so we couldn't do anything. But with this, if you can, then great. So the second step you'd have to do is set up what they call cross-domain tracking, because I imagine you're going from the main acupuncturist site to another totally different domain name. So you need to tell Google Analytics, when it goes there, don't consider it a new session. Consider it the same session. So you're setting up cross-domain tracking.
Okay.
And you can Google the documentation on how to do that. So you have to do that within Google Analytics. So Google Analytics knows, oh, I'm to consider this the same site.
Okay.
Okay. Then you can do all kinds of stuff. And then it depends on how the tracking works. Ideally, the book tracking system renders a confirmation page saying, thank you for signing up. If that's the case, then we know the confirmation page. We know, therefore, if someone's reached that confirmation page, they have signed up, and we set that up as a Google Analytics goal, and we're done.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's not, then we might have to get a little more complicated. We might have to use Tag Manager. We might have to set up event tracking, and we might not be able to do it.
Okay.
It's really hard to say what we're able to do. Okay. I'd suggest first things first. Let's first track people clicking off the website to get to this.
Yeah.
Because even if you are later able to track people who are actually signing up, it would be nice to know how many of the people tried to go and
then didn't sign up.
Don't end up signing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's identifying a conversion problem on that system. Maybe it can help you with more data, allows you to make better decisions. So I'd at least do that.
Okay.
And then when you go to your client and you're saying, hey, look, we sent a lot of traffic and the traffic produced this many people trying to sign up.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're providing real value that's really close to the money that they're making, not some nebulous number like, you got 100 visits last month.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You got 100 visits. Who cares?
Yeah.
You got 100 visits and 20% of them tried to sign up. Hey, that's good. It's even better if it's like, and 10 of them did.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's really good. So this is one of those things that can be really hard, but the value for your client is really high. The value for you as a service provider is very high because you help justify your existence. Right?
Yeah.
And then it's also typically one of these things, once you do it, you can walk away.
Yeah.
Right? You're done.
Yeah.
I recommend going back every 6 months and double checking. Like today, I went through one of my clients and I literally filled out every form on their website just to make sure it's still working.
Yeah.
And it just gives me peace of mind to know that they're still tracking in Google Analytics. So the numbers I'm giving them are still true and they can't complain, because at least they can't complain about that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other things they can complain about, but they can't complain about that.
Okay. Perfect.
So I wish there was a real easy, like, simple solution here, but this is worth, the fact is too, as you work through this problem, the next time you encounter with another client, it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah.
So good question. Super question. Okay. Lavanya, you had a question too.
Yeah, it was just about I was going back through your steps, and I was making some changes.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that when I made those changes, it was going to send out 2 reports instead of just 1.
Okay.
So I want to remove the old one and keep the new one that I made changes to.
Okay. Well, learn from my mistake. Don't do this. Okay. You get the email from Google, and in the email it says, do you want to stop receiving these updates?
Oh.
Never click that link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did it one time and there's no way to reverse it, and you can never get another report from that account again.
Oh.
This is a few years ago, and I haven't done it since because it was so terrible. But maybe they fixed that bug. But when they take that seriously, you click that link in that email, they will never bother you again, even if you want them to bother you. So don't click that link. Okay. The good thing is it's really, really easy. So all you got to do is log into your Google Analytics account. Okay. And at the very bottom left is a gear for the admin section. Okay. Once you click on the admin section, make sure you are looking at the correct account, profile, and view that is sending you that report. Okay. Okay. Are you in Google Analytics and following along?
Actually, I was writing it down. But
oh, okay. Well, then at the bottom of the proper view, you will see on the far right column, you will see a list of scheduled emails. And under the scheduled emails, if you click on that, it will list every email they're scheduling to send to you. And that's where you delete it. Okay. And, sometimes depending if you named it the same, it can be a little confusing on which one's the right one. But once you can kind of click around and, oh yeah, this is the report. That's no longer useful to me, and delete that there. But that's how you delete those reports. And now you will only get the one you asked for.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question, because, to make these reports helpful in your inbox, I think it's really important to not fill your inbox with unnecessary reports. I know my eyes glaze over I get too many emails, and then I end up ignoring stuff and missing opportunities.
I just thought of a question I had. If this is done.
What's that?
If this question is done.
Are you done, Lavanya?
Yes, that was it.
Okay.
So my question is, I know we went through how to make my dashboard US visitors only, which is what we want. But when I get my weekly report emailed to me, it's not US visitors, it's all visitors. Is there a way for me to adjust the weekly report? Because otherwise what I'm doing is going in, and because like we have a meeting every week, and then I adjust it and then I use that instead of just being able to use what's emailed to me.
So that's a really good question. go into that same space in Google Analytics, and you might be able to edit the report from there. If you can't, just set up a new report and delete the old one.
I don't remember how to do that. I have to go back and look at it. Okay, well,
I bet you can't edit it once you set it up.
you know what? I was trying to edit it in dashboards and not in reports. So
There it
that's
is. See, so the report keeps sending what you told it to send.
see.
So
The
you
only report I have says 404 pages.
sorry?
I don't have it. My dashboard is not. So like I get emailed the weekly SEO troubleshooting dashboard.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to edit the email that I get.
Right,
That's
right.
not in my custom reports. That's just my dashboard. So how do I change that?
It's
Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry. I just got a delivery and the buzzer scares
oh, okay.
me.
Okay. So it should be under
I'm listening.
dashboards in Google Analytics, but updating it there doesn't update the email that you receive. You have to update the email separately. Otherwise, Google Analytics will just keep sending you the old report.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Say that again.
That's all right. So if you can Google Analytics is sending you the report you told them to send you.
Well,
You
it's sending me
upload
the
the
dashboard. It's
the
not a
dashboard.
report. Yeah.
It should be in your dashboard.
Yeah.
And so you just need to go and either say, send this one and then go delete the other one. Or you might be able to go into your Google Analytics and edit it from the admin. I don't think you can though.
Oh, from admin.
So the admin is on the far left side, the very bottom is a gearbox. And if you click on the gearbox, he'll take you to the admin section of your Google Analytics profile.
That's reports. That's not what I want. I don't see a thing for dashboard in
No, it's the dashboard is not under the admin. The dashboard is somewhere else. Right now, we're
Right.
trying to look at the scheduled email.
Oh, scheduled email.
So go to the gear and you'll be in admin. You'll see 3 columns, your account profile. You go to your view, and at the bottom, there'll be something that says scheduled emails.
It's on the left.
Thank you.
There's your emails on the left
Okay. Okay.
at the bottom. And I'm in there, and it says you got your start date when I first initially started it, the email, and then it has an end date. Do I need to go back in and set it up again? Because my end date for the first one I did is December 27th of this year.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because Google Analytics will time these out. And it will only send it for so long unless you tell it, hey, I want to keep getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, from that dashboard, click on it and you can say extend. And I think it extends it for a whole year.
Oh, okay.
So you can do it now and it'll extend a year from today, or you can wait until then and it'll extend it a year from today. But sometimes I forget that and I'll be like, I won't get reports and I'll be like, what the heck? Why am I not getting these reports anymore? It's simply because they've timed out.
So for my dashboard, there's no way to like just change the one I have.
Right.
Like I can view it differently, but I can't like just update how it's set. I have
Okay.
to just create a whole new one.
Then it's really easy. What I would do is go back to your dashboard. So on the left column at the top, you can get to your custom reports and dashboards.
Mhm.
And go into your dashboards until you view the report you want to send yourself.
Mhm. I don't have a custom report for the dashboard info.
Is it under dashboards, not under reports?
Yeah, it's just the dashboard, and then I have the weekly email that sends it to me. It's not actually a report. It just sends me like the actual dashboard for the previous week.
So but it is the dashboard we set up.
Correct.
Can you show me your screen?
Yeah. You have to allow it.
Well, fine.
And
You
sorry,
you are allowed.
I ordered like a dozen books on Amazon yesterday because they're having a 3-for-2 sale, and I didn't want it sitting out in the rain.
I've never heard of a 3-for-2 sale from Amazon. My goodness.
It's a real problem. I like have 600 books already, and now I just ordered like a dozen more because it's important right now.
No, my wife has a stack as high as her couch.
Yeah.
And I got 3 books for my birthday last week, and then that goes on top of all the other books that I purchased during the pandemic.
Yeah, I am a lot of books.
Okay. Well, since we're playing that game,
Just a couple. Oh, you use the top too. I do decorations on the top.
that's just mine. Oh, I got action figures on mine.
Yeah. Well, and then obviously I have my nerd wall behind me.
Yeah. All right, share your screen. Let's see what we can see. All right, you're on this is the dashboard, right?
Yes.
Okay, so from here, all you really have to do is select the date, go to the date selector, and what I like to do is have a weekly comparison. So select and then compare to. No, just underneath that, compare to. Well, now you've got a little
Now
bit.
I messed it all up.
That's right. Stop. Just stop where we are. Under date range, there's a pop down that says custom. Go above. There you go. Last week. Okay. And then, okay, so there it's gone last week and applied to, okay, now we got, or good. So now what we're doing is we're comparing this week and last week. Okay. Now, if this is too busy for you, you can just show the current week, but I like to see the dashboard. So at the top of the screen, underneath the weekly SEO troubleshooting dashboard, there's a little button that says email. Don't type your email yet. Oh, actually, everybody's seeing your email. No one look at Allison's email. All right. That's fine. So no one watches this on YouTube anyway. So go to frequency, click weekly.
All right.
And whenever you want it delivered, and then the email address to which you want it delivered, fill out the CAPTCHA and you're done.
This is very useful.
Oh, you need to add something in the body. Have a great week. There you go.
That's very useful.
There you go. And so that one will come, but the other one will come too. And now we're at Lavania's problem, where there's 2 reports going to be coming to you.
Oh,
So
that's
you click on the gear in the bottom and you can delete the old one. So you only get the one that's useful.
interesting. And then if I wanted to, so then, oh no, it's the wrong thing. So then I could undo the compare, apply. And now this is US visitors and just make a new email and then delete the old email one, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't want to do the weekly comparison.
I
Yeah.
mean, like the one that is international as opposed to US, right?
Well, so you remember, you can't edit the existing report that's being emailed to you. You can
Okay,
only,
so even though I have it selected as US visitors right now,
right.
it won't affect the email.
No.
Oh, sugar. Okay.
So you got to delete the old one. You've already just set up a weekly with US visitors.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if I have it like this, US visitors right now, and set up the email, will that email be US visitors only?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all I need.
Right. Well, but you will get the international one too. You just already set that up.
But I can delete the international email.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Okay.
Now, don't forget to change frequency to your current frequency. That's where I always forget. I always leave it at once and I get it once and then we're set.
Okay. And then to delete the other one, I go to admin, I go to scheduled emails, and this old one that I set up, delete.
I'm just gonna double check. And
Oh, that was so useful.
yeah, now here, look at the dates here. It says end. So both of these are scheduled to end
In a year.
6 months.
Mhm.
So
no.
I either set a calendar invite to say, hey, you know what? Yeah. But now it's going to extend, it'll be a year.
Yeah.
But now you got to remember in a year to extend it. So I always put a calendar invite thing in there to remind me, hey,
I can't think of
this
you.
client's dashboard has expired, so you need to go set it up again. All right. Well, those were some exciting times.
It's a very productive office hours for me.
That was good.
Sometimes you guys are talking and I'm like, oh, I don't know what language you're speaking, but this was a good one.
Well, what I love about it is Lavagna's question jumped into your question, Ali.
Yes. And I've been meaning to ask you that for so long, and I just keep forgetting.
Yeah. Well, and now when Ali, when you heard me talking about Trisha's problem, you probably were having PTSD from us trying to figure out that with Mailchimp.
It's no secret that I despise Mailchimp. So
So do I. That's why I stopped using it. But I mean, it does fine. It does fine. It's great, entry level, does a lot of good stuff. All right. Was there anything else we want to tackle? Now that I've moved my camera, I'm not even centered today.
Just about to unpack these books I just got.
All right.
I'm gonna go on Pet Finder and look for a bit.
Do it.
I have a appointment for Saturday scheduled.
Yay!
So we'll see what happens. So
I'm in the business of encouraging people to.
Oh, trust me,
I'm adopt animals.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm similar, and so no, it'll be a rescue for sure. And but I posted the other day, I was like, my house is as quiet as it's been in 18 years. I was like,
oh my gosh.
Wow.
Are you looking for a dog or a cat or both?
Dog. Yeah.
Yeah. This little monster is very happy that the dog is at daycare today.
Uh-huh.
Yes, dear. I know.
Mm-hmm. Say she gets mom all to herself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you all.
Yes.
And I look forward to our time again next week.
Yes.
And
I won't be here next week. Sorry. I got another event on Wednesday.
Oh, we will miss you. Well, and we'll also be thinking about whether we want to meet on the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We'll think about it. Maybe we'll just talk about what we're eating. You know, is a favorite topic of mine. All right. Well, take care, everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.